Andrea from First&Spring Designs. Tonight I've been dying to make my family portrait, so I got this beautiful frame I've had for years. I think it's from the 70s. It's lightweight plastic. I just took the mirror out so I didn't ruin it, and I'm going to hang this on my wall and I'll show you my portrait. I'm going to be using my family portrait. It's so creepy cool. This is a new one from RH Designs by Two Chatty Chicks from Zazzle. It's 18-pound tissue paper, and there's a little bit of wrinkling from when I was outside spraying it, but that'll go away. Tonight I'm just going to apply my paper to the board that's going in my frame. I already painted 2 coats down of white paint. I used General Finishes milk paint in alabaster. You can use any white paint you want. I just use this because I have a bunch of it. And I've also been spraying the front and the back of my papers. I was using shellac, and this time I tried Mod Podge matte clear acrylic sealer spray. We're going to see how it works. I bought this cool little thing from Amazon. You just put it right on your spray can and it easily mists the paper. I just go the front, this is the back. I go lightly spray the back, and when I'm outside I just hold the paper up the best I can and I just spray it however I want. Then I bring it inside and I let it dry a few minutes. Definitely spray any of that stuff outside because it smells awful. And then I'm going to be using just regular Mod Podge. So this is the paper that I'm using. I'm so happy to have gotten it today. It's the cutest little thing. It was designed by Renee, and it just looks like it's us perfectly. My little girl looks exactly like that, with the hair just cute like that when she was little. It's beautiful. The lace, it's just perfect. So I'm going to make it, and probably will keep it up after Halloween. That's how much I love it. So again, I sprayed the front and back of my paper with Mod Podge spray. I think you could use any kind of spray just to create a barrier between the paper and the glue that will go down, and the paper and the glue that will go on top to seal it. So we're going to give this a try. This is called the iron-on method. I use it for almost everything I do in decoupage. It's less frustrating, less tears, less wrinkles. So we're going to give it a try. So again, first you spray the front and back of your paper, let it dry. I'm going to set it aside. And then I already painted 2 coats of white paint down. That just makes the paper colors more vibrant. You definitely usually need it. And so I already did that without you on camera, off camera. And then I'm just going to do 2 coats of Mod Podge. And I'm going to do the whole board because with this project there will be no painting or no blending. It'll be nice and easy. I like to apply the Mod Podge with these foam chip brushes because it leaves less brush marks and less ridges, because when it dries and if you leave big thick ridges, it will you'll see that in the paper. And if you hear me scream tonight, don't be alarmed. We had our basement flood when we were away at the fair. One of the line for the hose outside broke and water was gushing into our basement. So now he's been down there cleaning out the basement and doing repairs and gutting it and all that. Well, you know, I'm in Michigan, so it's getting a cold at night. So I think mice are starting to come inside, and we usually nip that in the bud by putting down traps. We don't usually very often have mice, but tonight, after dinner when I was sitting here at the counter in the kitchen, there was a mouse tail. I saw it run by me. I think it's disgusting, and I don't think they're cute. The only mice that I think are cute are the ones designed by Renee at Two Chatty Chicks. Those are the only kinds I want to see in my house. I feel violated. So anyways, if you see me scream, hopefully I won't. That is the problem we've been having. And I think it will be under control soon. I have only seen that one, and hopefully it's the only one we see. But the basement door is right by me in the kitchen, so that's why I warn you. And it's kind of funny. Not totally funny, but a little. Okay, so this is the first coat of Mod Podge. I like to do 2 coats so that the paper will adhere well. We're just going to do some basics on the next few videos. People are at all levels of decoupage, but we've been having some new people that have never decoupaged, and I just want to show you that it's very easy. You learn as you go, and you can make mistakes and fix them pretty well. I still make mistakes all the time, sometimes really silly ones, but you can usually fix everything. So this is the way I like to do it. I don't like to do the wet application. I like to do the iron-on. I feel more comfortable. I feel like it turns out better, and it's not frustrating. I have done it wet application twice, and once was on my mannequin, and that surprisingly turned out super good, but I do remember it being very frustrating. And then the other one was on a piano bench, and that was very frustrating. So after I learned about this iron-on method, this is the way I choose to do it. So that's all you'll hear me talk about because I think it's amazing. So you just apply it evenly down, 1 coat of Mod Podge. Then, normally if I was alone, I would just let it dry normally under my ceiling fan. But since I'm showing you, I'm going to use a hairdryer. And to some people this might be like, oh, this is so boring because it's just glue and paper. But you have to learn, this is the most important part of it all, is the application of the paper. So I'm going to blow dry it, so it's going to be some noise. That's the first coat. And it is a little bit more work than applying it the wet way, but you have to do the extra two, the 2 coats of glue and blow dry it in between, but I think it's worth the extra work instead of having to have issues with the paper ripping or tearing or huge wrinkles or having it stick and then you want to move it. I just like this way. And I'm going to put the second coat on. So second coat, Mod Podge. As much as I use this stuff, I should be a ambassador or something for them. I just love Mod Podge. I think it works great. I've never had any issues. When I use it on my chairs, people say, oh, it'll crack. It hasn't cracked yet. I know they haven't been done for years, but they've seemed like they're just sealed so good, and that protective coating that it gives it, I'm going to continue to use it. It's cheaper too than a lot of the Decoupage gels that are out there. And I just wanted to say that I can't answer questions right now because my phone's up there on the tripod and I don't have an iPad or anything. So after the video and tomorrow, if you have questions and you left questions, I'll just come back and answer them. I just think this is the easiest way to do decoupage. The iron-on method. Pretty basic. But I think a good basic video would have been helpful in the beginning for me. You just want to make sure that you don't leave any huge ridges, because those will dry and you'll see that in your paper. I don't do terribly thin coats, I just do like a medium coat. Excuse me. Oh, I think I swallowed that gnat that was flying around. Ugh. Okay, so this is the second coat, last coat. You just need 2 coats. And then I just step back a little bit and see in the light if I can see any big ridges. Okay, there you go. Okay, so I'm going to use a hairdryer once more. Last time. Okay, that's good enough. It's almost completely dry. It's a little bit touch tacky, that's all right. I might do it just for one more second. I like it completely dry, but. Good enough. I'll be right back. I gotta grab my Teflon sheet. So I'm back. I grabbed my Teflon sheet. I use this or parchment paper. I'll show you how. I was trying to figure out the perfect placement of my paper. It doesn't quite fit completely. I didn't want to cut off any of her hat, but I don't want to cut off his whole arm. Everyone knows Mama's more important than Daddy, but I don't want to cut him off. Okay, so... I want to make sure it's perfect where I want it, because once I iron it on, it's not going anywhere. Okay, so that's gonna cut off that. Could maybe over. I just don't want to lose any of her hats, as little as possible. So that's what it's gonna look like. Okay. It's too bad my board isn't a little bigger, but that's all right. Okay, so then you're going to be reactivating the glue underneath with the iron to make it stick. So you have to put something between it. I used to use parchment paper, sometimes I still do, but lately I've been liking the Teflon baking sheets. It just seems to work a lot better. I like to start right in the middle and just do one line across. So you're reactivating the glue underneath, and it's going to make the paper stick. I like to just do one line and then check it to make sure it's going the way I want. It does work a lot better when the paper is completely dry and not tacky, but that's hard to do when you're trying to do a live video. So we're just going to keep going. Yep. And you can see it's working pretty good. So you're just going over it with the iron, and it's going to reactivate the glue that you put underneath. I'm using a mini heat press. I got it from Temu. It works excellent for this. It's supposed to be a mini heat press for putting iron-on decals on t-shirts and bags, things like that. It doesn't work that great for that. It doesn't get that hot. It still works for that, but it needs to be hotter for that. But for this, it works perfectly. It gets just hot enough. I used to use first a big iron, like for your clothing, and that used to cause so many issues because it gets too hot. It would almost melt my paper, and it would cause all these weird wrinkles that would never go away. A regular house iron is just too hot. So I recommend getting a small craft iron of some sort. I used to have the little cheap plastic ones that are pink, usually pink and white, but the cord would always come out. And then I'd be ironing and it would be turned off. So I spent just a touch more money. I think this one was like 15 or 18, and got a way better one. It never turns off on me, and the cord never comes unplugged. Okay, so that's all going down well. So far you can see how great it is. I mean, there's hardly any, it's like perfect. There's a little wrinkle there, but this is why I like the iron-on method. You iron it on and it's perfect. I mean, it's just so much better than ripping it, tearing it, and getting frustrated. So I think that little bit of extra work, putting the 2 coats of glue down, is well worth it. So yeah, so there you can see how great it looks. And then let's keep going. Just start in the middle and push. I like to start in the middle and push it up so that there's no bubbles, and that I'm starting from here and it won't pucker any of that. You can see a few little ridges. That's from my Mod Podge. I must have had too thick of a coat. But if you go over it a little bit slowly, sometimes it melts it down a little bit. If I wouldn't point it out, you wouldn't even notice. Be careful when you are ironing, then you lift that up and then rub the paper, because you can burn yourself. The paper is hot, but not too bad if you're careful. Okay, so that's done. Whoops. It's looking really good. I'm so obsessed with this paper. There's a bunch of different family photos, family portraits that Renee created. So when you go take a look on Zazzle, this is the one that I wanted for my family, because there's 3 of us, and there was a bunch of different families. There was one with a dad and some kids, a mom and some kids. So check that out, see if there's one that suits you. If there's not, maybe she will do you a custom one. But even if they don't match your family, they are still really cool to have for Halloween. You can tell if it's not adhered all the way because it'll move. You'll be able to tell. Once you're working on your own, you'll be able to tell exactly where it didn't get sealed down. But I mean, look how much easier this is than struggling with the wet paper. I don't even know how to explain how terrible those two I did wet were. I don't know how that one turned out good. They all turned out fine. I can sell them. They're all usable. But it takes me way double the time than it does to iron it on. So I just check the edges. They're good. Okay, so there it is. It's on perfectly good. No wrinkles. And it's okay if you do get wrinkles, but this is the way we try to best not have any and to get them out. Then I'm just going to, when I'm done, I'm going to take a sanding block and sand off the edges, get the excess off. Oh, just so impressed with this paper. This is the 18-pound paper from Zazzle, and again, it's a design by Renee from RH Designs by Two Chatty Chicks. Okay, so I just let that cool for a minute, and then I'm going to seal it. We'll see how this, I sprayed it with the Mod Podge clear acrylic sealer outside before I applied it. So let's see how well that works versus the shellac I usually use. Move this out of the way. Okay. Same way as before. Now we're just going over the image. When I did my jean jacket live, that didn't wrinkle at all or pucker. I see this one's doing it a little bit. So maybe the shellac created a better barrier. But I did kind of want a couple wrinkles or puckers so that I could show you how I easily use my Teflon in the iron and go back over it after this glue is dried. Yeah, it's puckering a little bit. And I sprayed it pretty good, so maybe that doesn't make as good of a barrier. Or maybe I could have sprayed it like another layer. But definitely spray outside. Shellac, definitely spray outside. That stuff smells awful. All of those aerosol sprays are terrible, terrible smelling. And they linger in your house, so definitely spray it outside. I usually wear a mask. I don't mess around with all these fumes and toxic stuff. My friend Judy just made her first jean jacket this week, and it turned out amazing. She used a horse from RH Designs by Two Chatty Chicks. It was her first jean jacket and her second time decoupaging. turned out wonderful. I posted it on my page if you want to take a look. And my tutorial video how to make that jean jacket is pinned to the top of my page. It will tell you all the steps to make your own. It's exactly similar to this, using the iron-on method, because I think it's the best way. It's not bubbling or wrinkling too bad, just a few spots. This glue is water based, so once it touches paper, it can wrinkle. That's why we sprayed the spray before applying it in hopes that it would cause a barrier between the sealer. This is working pretty good. My friend Judy mentioned that she used a foam, I think it was Judy that said she used a foam roller to go over the Mod Podge. That's a good idea. Never thought of it. And I do have one. I should have thought of that and grabbed it. But that's okay. Maybe I'll try it next time. It's another good idea from someone else. Mod Podge should dry clear with no major ridges if you use something like this, a foam chip brush or a roller. Okay, so that's pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and blow dry this, so there'll be some noise, and we'll see how the wrinkles are. now this is dry, and you can see it's not perfect anymore. It's got bubbles everywhere. Usually it doesn't do that for me, once in a great while. But anyways, it worked out perfect because I had been wanting to show you how I use the Teflon and go over it and get rid of all of those little bubbles. So let's give it a try. And when you're going over it, you can hear them like crackling out. And then you can lift it up and go over it. Sometimes I just go like this with my finger. Now the next project I'm going to do, I'm going to try the shellac again and see if I think that it worked better than the Mod Podge acrylic spray. It's almost like it's too hot. You can just use your finger and gently press those bubbles out. Because it's a little hot from the heat, it will go, they usually go right away. This one has a lot more bubbling than normal. When I do these, it does not usually have that much bubbling. Oops. So this one is not turning out like normal. It will when I'm finished, but it's obviously taking a little bit more work. But usually it's not this bad. Usually I only have to go over it a little in a few spots. But I tried a different sealer, a sealer spray. So, like I said, you live, you learn. I wanted to try it, and now I know. Okay. It's still on there, pretty good. There's not a ton of wrinkles. There's still a little bit. I'm just going to do a whole nother coat. I usually do 2 to 3 coats of my Mod Podge because where it got a little hot, it kind of leaves like some marks. And once I do another coat of Mod Podge, those usually go right away. But it is pretty good. You can just see a little bit of the bubbling where it was. But you know what? Sometimes things don't turn out the same as normal. And this way I got to show you how you can go over it with the iron. But it looks pretty good to me. Just going to do one more coat. And I think it also works better if you let it dry between coats. Like you can use your hair dryer, but I think it also just works better if you could use your hair dryer but then let it finish drying on its own. And I do think that live videos don't go as perfectly as normal because for me, I still get a little nervous. And then your brain's like over processing, like, what do you do next? And so I think that that's why sometimes it doesn't go as smoothly as you think it does when you're by yourself. But no matter how it turns out, this is giving you an idea of the iron-on method. Okay, I'm almost finished. And because I'm just going to hang this up on the wall, I'm only going to do 2 coats. If I was going to do a chair, I will seal it a little bit more, do some other things. Or a table, I would do more than 2 coats. Okay, I think that's on good enough. Okay, I'm just gonna give it one more dry and see how it looks when I'm done. Okay, so that was a second coat of Mod Podge. It's alright, it's not as good as normal. I definitely think that the shellac works better than the Mod Podge acrylic spray. Normally there's not this much puckering or wrinkles. Like I said, that last jean jacket, there was nothing. I don't even know if I went over it with the iron again after I sealed it. But this is still pretty good. I just don't like when I have to get out all these little bumps. Then I'm also going to try a spray called Watco. My friend Candy recommended it. I have it ordered. That's oil-based, so that would definitely cause a barrier between the paper and the sealer that goes on top. This will also look better when it's not directly under the light, because the Mod Podge causes a glare even though it's matte. It still has a little shine to it. They make Ultra Matte, and I'm going to try that when I run out of the regular. But it also makes a difference too when you use your blow dryer and you don't let it dry, because it still feels tacky. And normally when I'm working not on a video and just working by myself, it's not tacky when I go on to the next step. Not like tacky, but kind of sticky. But all in all, it's pretty good. And soon I'll do the iron-on method on a table, and we'll see how that turns out when I use a different spray before I apply the paper. But none of these marks I'm talking about, these little bubbles or little wrinkles, they won't be noticeable once it's in the frame, even if I didn't go over them and get rid of them. Excuse me. But I like my stuff perfect. Perfect as I can get it. But that's pretty good. I think it turned out really great. Some of these grooves are just from the material underneath. Can't do anything about that. But all in all, I think it turned out great. And that's the iron-on method. That's how I do it. Like I said, normally I have a little bit more success and I don't have to try and get out all these little bumps and ridges. But I could keep going. I could iron it a little bit more, put another coat on and see how that would go. Usually by the third or fourth coat it won't bubble anymore. But since this is just going in a frame, this is good. And that's how it turned out. I really, really love this family portrait that she made for me. So go on, you should go look and see if there's any that you like. There was a bunch that I like. And this is my family, and thanks for being with me tonight.